Dear Nerva families, welcome to our first community meet for the academic 2020-2021. The topic of this community meet is the advisory class for grades 6 through 8. I would like to introduce you to our panelists today. So on this particular community meet, we're happy to have our upper school counselor, Ms. Mary Platts.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Mary Platts. And the assistant secondary school principal, Mr. Daniel Cunningham.
Hi there.
And myself, Ms. Bella Gligorova, I am the secondary school principal. So I'm going to be inviting my colleagues to guide us through this community meet so you have a firm understanding of the role of advisory for grades 6 through 8. Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you, Ms. Gligorova. Good evening, everyone. Before we get started here, I'd really like to just give you an outline of what you can expect from this presentation and our discussion. First and foremost, I'm hoping that you can come away from this presentation with an understanding and appreciation of the new program that we're going to be launching in grades 6 through 8 advisory, which will be explained by Ms. Platts in a moment. Beyond that, I'm hoping that we can come away from this evening with a clear understanding of how advisory can play a useful role for you in communicating with the school and learning about what's going on in your child's classes and what the school is offering in terms of support and opportunities for your child. We'll be going through the different the structure of advisory and the different opportunities that exist as things stand. We're going to be giving you as well a look into what we hope advisory can turn into amidst the challenges and opportunities that are presented by our current reality with distance learning and the prospective start of a blended model in the near future.
Hello. It's nice to get to communicate with you in this creative, different way. And it's exciting to talk about advisory. So that's where it's important for us to try to find a way to condense and summarize all of the potential that advisory is loaded with. So we have overarching purposes of this time, this valuable time together, and it's threefold for your children. It's for them and you to find clarity on just what are all the things happening, connection with each other, with the teacher, with the school, so very important all the time, but especially now. And it is to provide a sense of belonging, that this is their group, this is their space, that is their person, this is my source of information, this is my source of support, this is my person who can connect me to the supports that I might still be needing. So those are our guiding goals for this advisory time. We are happy to be promoting. Could we go back to that last slide? Thanks. These are the goals of our actual instruction during advisory time. Is a social emotional program, an actual program, academic counseling and academic goals and guidance, student well-being, citizenship in our school, and community building in our school and our wider community. So there's a lot of goals, but that is what advisory is capable of. Ready for that next slide. There we go.
So in addition to these many and important and impactful components of what advisory is and is moving towards, there are just a couple points that we'd like to make about how it can be understood in terms of a longer term and a medium term goal. And I'll start with the medium term goal, and that is that advisory in hopefully as near to the near future as we can make it, becomes a safe space for students to anchor themselves in their day, whether we're in the distance or the blended model, and students will have a chance to feel as if this is a calm place where they can receive support and prepare themselves for their day or reflect upon their day as things are. In addition to that, we're very much hoping that advisory becomes a space where we begin to unpack a new concept, and one that comes with us into our time as an MYP, school, and that is the idea of an MYP learner profile. And what we're asking for is for advisory to be a place where students begin to chew on the perspectives that are a part of the MYP learner profile, so that they become very much more so prepared to enter into the framework of an IBO program. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about the structure of advisory and who's involved in administering and supporting the space of advisory. So I've got here on the screen the advisory teachers for each grade level, and they're divided between the 3 groups per grade level. Now, every one of these advisory teachers is working on plans to create opportunities and events across grade levels and between grade levels. And so very often these advisory groups will be working together so that students can have the experience of both strengthening bonds within their advisory group and between other advisory groups. Now, what's not on this slide are the names of what we're calling advisory support teachers, who are faculty who have not been assigned an advisory class, but who are very much a part of this framework in terms of supporting it to make sure that it functions smoothly, and that advisory teachers have the support they need in the event of special events, in the event of they're just needing to be another calming presence in the room or someone to help facilitate. And so I'm sure you've been hearing from these lovely people in the recent weeks, and you'll continue to hear from them as they will be responsible for disseminating information as the need be, and very much being your point of contact with the school over a lot of what would have ordinarily been handled from the side of school leadership. So you can expect that a lot of what we're doing and a lot of what you can enjoy from the school or count on from the school is something that will be explained to you and delivered to you by these lovely folk on the screen here.
So to put things in further perspective for you, whether you are a returning family to Nova or a new family, it's important to bear in mind that the relationships of connectivity and belonging are reflective of our commitment towards the mission statement of our school. And you have on the slide what that mission statement tries to emphasize. I just want to underline the heart and the mind. So the role of the advisory classes is very much in line with our expectations for ourselves towards this particular mission statement. So with that, I would pass the baton on to Ms. Platts, who's going to tell us more about the program we've put in place.
So I'm very excited to tell you about our new social emotional learning program that we are started with, and it's extremely exciting, but I'll let them speak for themselves. So you can go ahead and push play. This is one of the 2 videos I'd thank you for watching.
Can you tell me what the future will be like?
What do you mean by the future?
I don't know. I feel like the future definitely it'll have
Robots. People will be less mean to each other. I think everyone's going to become friends.
I feel like it's a boomerang. So you give out the kindness boomerang, and then the kindness comes back to you.
The Dalai Lama had this vision of being able to offer a curriculum for free to anybody in the world that gets people to think about what it means to be a good person.
Our education system's set up to teach kids a lot of facts about the world, but not really how to make meaning out of those facts.
The collaboration between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Emory University led us to undertaking this new program called C-Learning, Social, Emotional, and Ethical Learning.
C-Learning is many different initiatives in education together for the first time. Social and emotional learning, compassion and ethics, attention training, trauma and resiliency skills.
You put all of it together, and then you put in some really hands-on activities that get kids excited.
Sometimes I have some problems with my friends. I use C-Learning to help me calm down.
Every teacher feels frazzled. Every teacher feels like they're doing too much.
Weaving C-learning in makes everything else I'm doing work better.
I think it's really exciting to hear that there's going to be an online platform.
Having an online platform for C-learning is a key. Teachers from around the world can get that training. It allows us to have that conversation and to learn from each other.
I have hope that in the future,
my generation could change things, hopefully.
I think maybe the world can be a kinder place.
I was kind before, but now I'm kinder.
C-learning is about, first and foremost, bringing that inner change, being kind towards each other.
That's it.
I was on mute. It was so lovely to see so many kids in a room and that proximity. But it's really exciting that we are starting this and that the school is so united in this effort. I just want to take a moment to break down some of the all the abbreviations, SEE, SEL, and all these things. So SEL, social emotional learning, is an umbrella term for all of this, while SEE is this is an actual program that these people created. So they call it C-learning, and one of its central creators is a man named Daniel Goleman. And if that name rings a bell, he is the one who wrote the books on emotional intelligence. So I think he will be in the next slide, and I just wanted to give some of that context, and he'll do it even better. Thank you for your patience.
When I wrote Emotional Intelligence in 1994, I argued for educating students' emotional and social skills. I was spurred by the finding that when it came to students' problems like violence, drug abuse, depression, and dropouts, the programs that worked all cultivated the same basics: self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and social skills, which altogether helped kids make good decisions in their lives. A small group of us, including my friend and fellow speaker Linda Lantieri, founded the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning to spread this approach. Today, it's become a worldwide movement known as Social Emotional Learning, or SEL. Research shows that these programs work. A study of several 100,000 students found SEL lowers antisocial problems by 10%, increases pro-social attitudes such as liking school by 10%, and boosts academic achievement scores by 11%. When I wrote A Force for Good, the Dalai Lama's vision for our world, for his 80th birthday, I came to see how SEL aligns with His Holiness's mission of reaching the people of the 21st century with what he calls an education of the heart. The Emory C-Learning framework complements SEL with crucial skills that are largely missing from existing programs, skills that I identified in my book, The Triple Focus, written with MIT's Peter Senge. These include attention training, care and compassion, systems learning, and the development of an ethical outlook. In particular, compassion and discernment provide the foundations for C-Learning. This combination of wisdom and compassion seems exactly what the world needs now. There's a saying, compassion without discernment is blind. Discernment without compassion is like a dried up fruit tree. Congratulations, Your Holiness, on this global launch of C-Learning, the culmination of more than 20 years of academic collaboration between you and Emory University. My hope is that C-Learning will be adopted far and wide and help more and more students far into the future. It represents SEL 2.0.
So yes, this looks like a lot of information, so I'll try to pull out some main ideas from it. And it's largely what Daniel Goleman was talking about as well, that these are the people that work together to create this program. It's a culmination of a lot of different approaches based on empirical discernment processes. As he said, Emory and the Dalai Lama. I'd like to point out that the program is non-sectarian, non-religious, universal, based on principles like that, just in case that was a concern. Science-based approach, and it's really put together in a lovely way for the whole child, in a way that's also very useful for parents and teachers. The major components are training, attention training, training your ability to focus and pay attention, compassion and ethical discernment, systems thinking. That's that piece of that interdependent global citizenship, connects very well with our MYP and IB learner profile. And my favorite part is the last part, is resilience and trauma-informed practice. Empirically science-based approach about the zones of regulation, mindfulness, in just a lovely, seamless way. They're developmentally staggered for each age group of kids. Easy to use, lovely framework that they have been so generous to share with educators who do a training, and then it's shared. So that's really exciting. I think I said most of these things, that it's really based on the most current research, which is lovely and amazing. And these are the top people in these fields. Daniel Goleman, and he also mentioned Linda Lantieri. She is also one of the top people in this field. So that they put their heads together to create this is pretty exciting. These are some aspects, ways that it can look. There's a lovely implementation guide for if there's not much time, or if there's a lot of time, ways that this can grow into something bigger, or ways that the really important stuff can be there even if other things are happening and you're short on time. There's even an aspect of the implementation that if you have no time for this curriculum, you can still use these SCE 1-minute practices. So that's lovely. Journaling can be a really lovely component of it if that's where the teachers would like to take it. These things can be school-wide activities, or these things can be just simple, useful tools that are embedded into the classrooms. The curriculum's pretty lovely. It's interesting. There are 7 units for this curriculum, and they are the same 7 units as it incrementally goes up the developmental age groups. So they're the same titles, it's the same vocabulary, it is the same concept, but it becomes more and more age appropriately complex. So for example, by the time they are on, let's see, the curriculum sequence level 2, by the time they are doing level 2 in high school, resilience, it's the neuroscience of resilience. And it's beautiful. It's like a psychology, AP psychology mixed with SEL, and it's really for leveled well, so that the self-awareness and self-knowledge just goes deeper and deeper. I'll hand it over to Mr. Daniel, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, from this point on in the presentation, what we'd like to take a moment to do is to take us along the path towards what the SE program is providing. And that path is very much made up of the day-to-day aspect of advisory and how that can be understood, and how that framework that's there can be used by parents, used by students in a way that is easy to understand and helpful. So to put this in perspective, in terms of the kind of connection that we're hoping you can enjoy with your child's advisory teacher, I want to put it out there that it's important that information coming from the school, updates on school activities, to the extent that it's appropriate, will be coming from your child's advisory teacher. Communication will be coming to you regarding progress made by your child, including academic progress and social progress and events. and of course also concerns that might be flagged or opportunities for growth that might be flagged would be coming to you from your advisory teacher. Now, when it comes to how you can communicate with your child's advisory teacher, the best way that we found to sum this up would be the following, that any and all information that helps to provide context for your child's behavior, and that includes information relating to attendance at school or family events or family changes that might happen, any and all of that is something that your advisory teacher might benefit from, and that your child might benefit from having your advisory teacher know. And so to a large extent, what you're sharing with the advisory teacher should come down to what is it that my child's advisory teacher should know in order to make school a more accommodating and supportive place for my child. And so that's a level of comfort that you maybe will develop with your child's advisory teacher as your child moves through the year and also between years. Now, when it comes to communication, one of the most common, and this is really a day-to-day concern, is communication regarding attendance. And so the role of advisory teachers here is that they, very much in line with what I've just said, if it helps to provide context, they should know about it. And so when you are forwarding attendance or information about your child's daily attendance to the school administrator responsible for this, Ms. Valentina Yoshevska, your child's advisory teacher should be CC'd. And so that means included in the email so that there's an awareness of what's going on, because your child's advisory teacher might be able to reach out to your child's teachers to grab something that might have been missed by in their absence, or to be aware so that if there's something communicated that day, that it doesn't fall through the cracks. And so the advisory teacher can follow up with your child when they do return. Now, there are some things that would be best reserved for other members of the faculty and staff at NOVA besides the advisory teacher. Questions regarding the curriculum that your child is a part of, or course selection, and these sorts of issues should go directly to your child's coordinator for the MYP program, Ms. Amanda Levitt. Questions regarding, we're going to call it miscellaneous issues such as school activities and policies should come to me, and I'd be happy to answer you and provide you with the information on how the school is functioning and what's coming up in the near future. And when you do send that to me, please do as well CC the advisory teacher so that they're aware that you've had this inquiry, and so they can follow up again with your child to make sure that that information found its way to your child where possible. I'm going to just leave a note here that please do bear in mind that in communication with myself, with advisory teachers, with anyone at the school, that if you're looking for information, please do give us time to respond and to get you an appropriate and accurate answer, bearing in mind that our working hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that it could take us as long as 24 hours to respond to an email. But of course, we do our best to make sure that we can reply more quickly than that. But as you may have noticed, this year is an interesting one, and we want to keep communication fair and be honest with you about what we're able to do at this point. So that leads us to our portion on frequently asked questions, or what we anticipate might be some questions that have come out as a result of this presentation. I will say now that if you have questions that aren't covered by this FAQ, that I would welcome you to send an email to receive those answers. So I'm going to start here with this question. How can the advisory teacher simplify my communication with the school? Very much in line with the previous slide in terms of how long it takes to get an answer or who can provide clarity. The advisory teacher is well situated to be able to give you information that's specific to your child, rather than the communication that comes from the school, which reflects all of the secondary division. And so advisory teachers can help you to keep abreast of what's relevant to you and to your family, because very often the sheer number of emails coming from the school can be difficult to keep track of. And so the advisory teacher will select what's relevant and be reaching out to you for that on a regular basis. Now also in terms of you accessing the appropriate person and getting answers to the questions you have, The advisory teacher can also, in the event that you're not sure who to contact, help direct your inquiry towards the appropriate party. Now, another question that might pop up is for those of you who are interested in what advisory is going to be doing throughout the year, longer term. And for any questions about that and the upcoming program, I would welcome you to contact me. And I can share with you what it is that is being planned by myself and by advisory teachers themselves about later in the year. Another question that might pop up for you is, do you want to know more about the SE program? And for that, I would encourage you to contact Ms. Mary Platts, who's done a wonderful job of outlining the program here and has resources that could help you if you were interested in seeing how this program could be used at home, or if you wanted to see in advance what would be taught in classes. And so I'm going to reiterate one last time this last point about advisory teachers and attendance. The advisory teacher is involved in communicating student absences, not as the administrative personnel who must know this for the sake of reporting, but rather as the party who should know information relevant to your child's attendance so that they can plan around and support your child. All attendance information communication should go directly to Ms. Valentina Yoshevska and also to myself if your child is going to be absent during the day, so that we'll ensure that the attendance is reported correctly in the software that we use for tracking this. Okay, that brings me to the end of this final portion of the presentation on advisory 6 through 12. Perhaps if there's a comment by either the principal, Ms. Skligodova, or by Ms. Platts, we can see if there's something that we feel that we haven't yet covered.
I think it would be great if we could stop presenting the presentation and say goodbye to our viewers, listeners for this first community meet, simply ensuring everyone that this is one of many. And our goal this year is to make sure that students stay connected with the school's community, and that you are, as always, a big part of that communication chain. So with that, I want to thank you for your attendance, though in this virtual mode. And as Mr. Cunningham pointed out, we are open to questions. Just give us time to be able to respond. And if you have further insights into how the program that we are piloting this year with grades 6 through 8 is in fact structured, or what aspects of it potentially you could also do at home with your kids, Ms. Platts would be a wonderful resource.
Okay, so thank you all very much. And if you're watching this on the evening it was released, have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.